When it comes to justice, people on the left argue like children. Hello, good people. It is Todd Shannon, data scientist, social commentator, getter of buckets. And I just wanted to weigh in really quickly on the assassination of this United Healthcare CEO. I I hate to say it, but people on the left are showing who they really are. They're showing their true colors. Because what they're doing is they're celebrating this as some sort of, this deranged assassin who comes from wealth, which is a whole nother thing that we could get into, because typically these people, these vigilante people like this, they almost always come from means, right? They're always the people least likely to have a serious grievance, right? But the ones with the most, who think of themselves as the most just, arguing or complaining on other people's behalf. This person is being celebrated by people on the left because they're saying, Finally, someone's taking the law into their own hands. Finally, this is real justice. And so, chief among the absolutely deplorable judgment that we see on the left, chief of those people is Taylor Lorenz. I'm trying to be as nice as I can, but I don't think she deserves anyone to be nice. This one has to be the dumbest, most deplorable person that I think, one of the dumbest people I've seen on the internet. And I say dumb, I use that as a euphemism for folly. I like to say stupid and dumb. When I think about that, I don't think about that in terms of aptitude. This is akin to what the Bible calls folly, like a fool. And this is what Taylor Lorenz is. We're going to listen to her deranged reasoning about why supposedly it's good to celebrate the assassination of someone like Brian Thompson. And then we're going to question, we're going to see maybe just a few questions maybe that Piers could have asked her. This is on Piers Morgan's show. A few questions that Piers could have asked her that would have, I think, got to the bottom of her folly. But let's have a quick listen.
To commenting when people were giving you a lot of blowback, I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on an next post that you commented on. Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that he murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the system.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
Now, just listen to there's several Lord help me. So much stupidity in its reasoning. To me, if it's good that this guy, or at least not bad, that this guy was killed, then Piers Morgan says, well, wouldn't it be good if we killed all of them? Well, no, because that wouldn't fix the system. Well, neither does this, neither does this. If one doesn't solve the problem, or if killing them all doesn't solve the problem, then how would killing one of them solve the problem? It's completely idiotic. And I'm going to get back to something she said, but I just want to continue just a little bit further here.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving healthcare from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something.
Have you been denied life-saving?
Hang on. The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here.
Yeah.
All right, so you saw that, and I don't think we need to listen to much more of it, but there's a couple things that Taylor Lorenz said that I think bears pointing out. She uses the term murder with respect to how insurance companies deny what she says life-saving care, how they deny it. And she says if the person dies as a result of them being denied coverage, then they are being murdered. Let's just take a moment to say this is the convoluted and childish thinking of people on the left. They cannot think in proper categories. When someone is murdered, that is the intentional and malicious killing of a person unjustly. The intentional, malicious killing of a person unjustly. That's what murder is. And even if, I just want to just point out, just as a matter of logic, even if healthcare companies didn't pay out a single dime in coverage, it wouldn't be properly categorized as murder. Maybe it'd be defrauding the people. Maybe it'd be stealing something that is rightfully, but murder. But the idea that they are intentionally killing the people is just a category error. Now, let's just deal with the fact that I think the more important thing, which is that Taylor Lorenz, let's just ask ourselves a simple question. How many of you people know and understand how the insurance industry works? For example, if we were to ask a simple question, what was United Healthcare's profit margins in 2023, for example? What was it? Because the implication is that, here's United Healthcare and other companies. They're just taking on gobs of money. They're just stuffing their pockets with cash. Well, people die on the street and then they're laughing. They're walking by just laughing at these people like, ha, 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 you're dying and I'm rich. Sucks to be you. Like, this is their perception of the people. But how many of these people actually know how the insurance company works? So I did a quick little research, and I just did a quick search of, hey, what's the profitability of health insurance companies? And here's an interesting thing that I learned is they call these loss ratios. So what a loss ratio is basically for every dollar of premiums that you take in, how much do you pay out in coverage or benefits for the insured. And in 2023, they're just highlighting for different groups what these loss ratios are. Now, these are gross loss ratios. So what that means is that this is just paying out for losses for different claims and so forth. So this doesn't begin to get into like the expenses of the company, paying employees, and other like operating expenses. This is just, we take in $1 of premium, how much goes back to the insured. And so apparently in 2023, pretty typical, between 84 and 87%, depending on the type of plan we're talking about, is what they paid out in losses. So that means at the absolute maximum, if these companies had absolutely no operating expenses at all. So basically, it was free for them to operate, which is an absurd, claim. But if it was free for them to operate, then at most they would have 16% profit margin, and at worst they would have 13% profit margin for 2023. And I got to tell you, that's hardly show-stopping profit margins. I'll just tell you that in financial services, for example, I worked for a financial service company in the past where we had 40% margins, 40% gross margins. I mean, absolutely killing it. If you go to like a tech company like Google or Amazon Web Services, for example, the margins are, dare I say, obscene. We're talking about above 50, 60% margins on some of these services. And the reason why, for example, Amazon can actually subsidize some of its other businesses is because their cloud services, Amazon Web Services, is so profitable that they can actually break even and take losses or to get like razor thin margins on some of their other retail goods, like, for example, Whole Foods, which they own. They almost make nothing on that stuff. They're just trying to increase their volume. And most of that is possible because of their absurd profits on Amazon Web Services. Now, that I'm not making any sort of moral judgment on, how much money they make. The point is that these people saying that insurance companies are gouging people and making obscene amounts of money don't know what the heck they're talking about. And I am not suggesting that all of the people who are denied coverage were done so, had been done so legitimately or ethically. And, there could be cases where that was definitely a problem. But the idea that these people are making money hand over fist while just laughing over the dying bodies of the insured that sort of fiction only exists in the mind of leftists, because these people have this kind of fantasy of oppression. They have this Marxist tendency to think that anyone who has any power is malicious and taking advantage of the people who don't. And this is the same sort of idiocy that basically drove the French Revolution, where they went and they put all of the people in charge, to death, basically. And the French have been basically a diseased cesspool of weirdness, as we saw on full display during the Olympics this year, ever since. They've never really recovered. And so, and a little known fact, by the way, even the terms left and the right stem from the French Revolution, where the people on the left were those who were in favor of this bloody revolution, and the people on the right were in favor of conserving things the way they were. So this is where we get right, conservative, and left as progressive or revolutionary. So this is a little history lesson for you. But I'd just like to point out, people like Taylor Lorenz are like a child with a gavel, and the left really need to be defeated in the marketplace of ideas. This is why we can't let these people prosper. But I'd like to know what you think. Of course, hopefully you find this sort of attitude deplorable and the murder of CEOs completely unacceptable. But, hey, I'm an equal opportunity a person, so I'd like to know what you think. If you have a different opinion, let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, friends, God bless you.